You know, something really weird is going on. I mean, I don't know what to do about it or who to call, but exactly 6 weeks ago at 6 p.m., I got stuck. Not on a spot. I got stuck on the sidewalk in front of this house. And now I'm stuck in this house. I know the exact time because I leave from work every day at 5 p.m. And then my stop is about a 55-minute ride from where my apartment is about a 3 minute, 3 blocks, 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm coming home from my file all day boring temp job, taking the same path home, walking the same road, thinking, what am I going to do for supper? When I suddenly think, let's play a little mind game, to liven things up a little bit. And I think, if the bus passes me before I reach home, then I'll get stuck at the spot the bus passes me. No rushing or anything, just walking normally. So I'm playing this game about the bus passing me, and I'm almost home, and the bus passes me. Okay, game over. And I keep going home. But I can't. I want to keep going forward, but there's like this invisible wall, and I can't get past it. So I retrace my steps and try to go back, and I run up against another invisible wall at the other end of the sidewalk. And then I try to step out the curb, and I can't do that either. So the only place I can go is into the house in front of me and knock on that door. It's November, so it's getting pretty chilly. And if I had my cell phone, I would have called someone like the police or an ambulance or someone. But do I have my cell phone? Nope. Of course not. It's at home. Either I'm always forgetting my cell phone at home, or it's out of battery, or I can't hear it ring, or when I do hear it ring, it's at the bottom of my purse. And by the time I get to there, the call has gone into voicemail, and I don't know how to check my messages on voicemail. What can I say? I'm a cell phone failure. So I do the only thing I can do. I ring the doorbell of the house. And the young man comes out and opens the door, and I say, I'm sorry, but I'm stuck, and I live in that house next door. And he's like, go home, and cuts me off and tries to shut the door when I say, please, sir, I'm really stuck, and it's getting really cold out here. Can you at least please call the police or an ambulance or someone who knows how to get me out of this? So he lets me in. And my teeth are chattering, and his wife sees that, and she offers me some coffee. And she introduces herself. Her name's Candy, short for Candace. And he's Bob, short for Bob. So Bob comes back and says he's called the cops and they'll be here any minute. And before you know it, there's a doorbell, and Inspector Jansky is standing there with a partner, a woman. And he says, what seems to be the problem, ma'am? And I tell him, what is the problem? And I tell him I live next door, and he says, follow us out and we will escort you home. And of course, I'm not going to say no to that. Maybe this wall thing doesn't work when the cops are involved. So we go out into the curb, and we step down into the sidewalk, and we're walking, and they're a little ahead of me, and they keep going till they realize I'm not with them. I'm stuck against the wall. Inspector Jansky turns around and says, give me your hand. And I give him my hand, and he says, I'll pull you, and Inspector Janis will push you from the back. And that's what they do. They pull and push and pull and push till my arm feels like it's going to come out of its socket, and they realize that this is not working. So they do the other direction. And for sure, we hit up against the invisible wall again. And again, when they try to step me out of the curb. So the only place I can go is inside the house till someone knows how to get me out of there. Which doesn't go over very well with Candy. I can imagine it's like having a witch in the house. So the big question is, what do I do? I call Edith, who's my friend in my apartment, and tell her that, Edith, can you bring over some clothes and some stuff that I need? I'm just in the house, in the apartment building next door. And she's like, why can't you come and get your own stuff? And I'm like, please, for once, just do it. I'll explain when you get here. And I also need to explain to my daughters, Margie and Clarice. Well, Margie anyways, because Clarice isn't speaking with me. I know what they're thinking. Their poor, sad, helpless mom always making jokes. You should have seen Edith's face when she came in, and she saw Inspector Janice behind me. She turns around and says, what did you do? Are you under arrest? I tell her, no, I'm not under arrest. I tell her about the mind game, and she's like, what's am I in candid camera or something? Do I have to look somewhere and smile? Well, that took a while to explain. Anyways, the next day, there's a buzz. There's newspaper reporters and parapsychologists. Everyone knows there's a woman who's stuck, me. And the parapsychologist is there because they think that I have some exotic, secret psychic abilities to erect an invisible wall. I'm an asset to the nation. And there's a NASA guy in a space or a jumpsuit who's there to see if I'm a threat to the nation. And then there's the psychiatrist who comes to ask me about my mind games and my life. And I tell him about my life. I mean, it's okay. There's not much to look forward to, but I get by. I mean, I have a job, a nice apartment, and a life. And he says, well, do you like your job? And I say, well, what's to like? It's just a temp job. You don't stay at a job for long, otherwise you get invisible. So it's okay. It's boring, but it doesn't tie me down, and I can take off whenever I want to. And which is funny because I never take off because I always need the money for something unexpected, like a weekend at Hilton. And he doesn't laugh, and he says, what do you do for fun? And I say, well, I take out my diamond tiara once in a while and give it some air. He doesn't laugh at that either and says, so do you have anything in your life that you've always wanted to do but never got around to doing? Yeah. I had this crazy notion once that I wanted to be a writer. I even took writing classes at the Y, and they'd give me assignments and I'd bring them home, and then my husband would come home and want to go to the movies. So we'd go to the movies, and when we'd get back, it's so late to do the assignments, and I kept falling behind, and then I eventually quit. So, says the psychiatrist, where's the husband? We're divorced. He doesn't ask why. I don't know why. I could tell him it's not personal. He just didn't want to stay married. Not to me, anyways. He says, so now you have time. Why don't you take up writing lessons? And I'm like, yeah, but what would I write about? Bob and Candy moved out. I mean, I wasn't going anywhere, and they wanted their own place. Edith doesn't visit anymore. And Margie and Clarice. Something really weird is going on. The walls keep shifting. I can't even go out to the sidewalk anymore, and I can't go upstairs. Thank God there's a John downstairs, more like a powder room. The living room's getting smaller and smaller. Today there was someone at the door, but I couldn't open it. I couldn't get them to hear me either. I tried, but they couldn't hear me. Do you think I might be disappearing?